Oh yeah. 5-star LSU. I said they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This is the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. Back and back it on up, hey. Back and back it on up, hey. Back and back it on up, hey.
TA! We live here with you in the Tigers Avenue for a fantastic show. Look, we got some stuff to talk about. We've got some things to address. But before we do that, I need to have a personal note. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday. And as many of you know, I am a pastor and firm believer in Jesus Christ. And I fully believe that he died for my sins. And my sins are covered by the blood of Jesus Christ. And I would be amiss if I did not mention something for Easter Sunday on the platform that the Lord has blessed us with Tigers Avenue. I want to read something for you real quick. Luke chapter 24, verse number 5 and verse 6. And as they were frightened, bowed their faces to the ground, the men said to them, "Why do you seek the living among the dead?" And here's the most incredible part. One of the greatest things that has ever happened in the history of humanity. He is not here. Verse 6 says he is not here, but has risen. Jesus Christ rose from the dead, defeated the grave, and in doing so defeated death and conquered the sin of humanity. And because such an incredible love that Jesus Christ had for us, sinners like myself, one so undeserving of his love, can have a loving relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's incredible. And I had to open up with that because it is Easter. And I love Easter because it's my favorite holiday as we remember what Jesus did for us on the cross, but also not only remembering what he did for us on the cross, but celebrating the resurrection of King Jesus. So, now that I have gotten that and said that, if you'd ever like to discuss that with me further, I am more than willing to talk to anybody who is open to it. But you are here to listen and hear about some Tigers info. So let's get into it, okay? We got to talk about some baseball. Boy, oh boy. Baseball heads out to Fayetteville, and they catch 3 straight losses. And they get swept by the Hogs. It is safe to say, as much as I hate to say it, that this year, the Piggies of Arkansas have dominated LSU in pretty much every sport. Not pretty much. Every major sport. Football, you lost to them in your own stadium. Brutal loss in overtime. You played the Hogs twice in basketball, the regular season. You lost both times. And then you played them in the SEC tournament in basketball for the 3rd time. And you got beat all 3 times. And then here in Fayetteville, on the diamond, the Hogs sweep the Tigers. So, Your LSU Tigers in men's major sports are a whopping 0-7 against the Hogs. So, all of you Hog fans, enjoy it. Enjoy it now. But it won't last long. Okay? It will not last long. Relish in this moment now. Because the Tigers will be back. And who knows? We may see the Hogs again later this year. We may have another opportunity at the Hogs in the SEC tournament. But for now, you tip your cap. You give it to the Hogs. They've kind of dominated this year. And it is what it is. There's nothing else you can do about that. You can't make up excuses for the fact that you are 0-7 against Arkansas. Arkansas! In all men's major sports. Absolutely brutal. It makes me want to puke. Now, that's my thoughts on LSU versus Arkansas this entire year. But let's get into the details of the game, or of this series. Game 1 was the best game of the series. It was the best game. It was the closest game. Today's game was a little closer than yesterday's game, but they still pulled away. Balcony Bengals said pain. Indeed, I'm feeling some pain right now after this series loss. Look, Thursday, you beat yourself. If I remember correctly, and I'm pretty sure I remember correctly, all of the 5 runs that Arkansas scored, all 5, came off of either an error that led to a run, a defensive miscue that wasn't counted as an error, or a walk. You beat yourself. The defense on Thursday night reared its ugly head again, and you had a one sloppy inning where you blew it. Look, Mikhail did enough. Mikhail Hilliard did enough for you in that game to get it done. He did enough. And really, your bats did enough. But your defense failed you again. It is like the plague we cannot shake off. Every single game of this series literally came down to one inning of botched miscues. And it seems like LSU cannot shake this one inning thing where we blow it. I mean, it was like the inning, oh man, now I'm drawing a blank. Against A&M. I almost said Auburn. Against Texas A&M when they scored 6 runs in the first game of that series, and they didn't score any more runs in any other inning but that inning when you just could not pick the darn ball up and make the play. And the same was true for this series. You should have won Thursday night's game. They go up 2-0. And you're really still in that game. They sketched one across in the first inning. They sketched one across later that evening. I think it was here. Let me double check myself. It was the third inning, and it was 2-0. But you're still in that game. You're still in that game. And then in the 6th inning, your bats get rolling, and on 2 outs, you have 3 straight RBI singles, all in a row, all on 2 outs. Your offense shows what it can do, and you take the lead. This is a huge moment in the series. You have the chance to capitalize on the first game and take control of this series here in the very beginning when you're on the road in the SEC West. This is crucial. The first game is crucial, And in one inning, when you are down 2 runs and you are able to take the lead, that is huge. It's huge. And then you go to the next inning and you can't pick the ball up, and they score 3 runs off of miscues here, miscues there, miscues everywhere. And they score 3, take the lead back. Your offense almost got you through it again, but not quite enough. And you're able to sketch one more across, and the game ends 5-4. I don't know what we have to do. I don't. But this is what we're dealing with. There is nothing that we can do to change this defense, it feels like. It's just sickening to watch. And it's always seems it's like it's one inning. It's one inning. It's not like the entire game. It's one inning. One. If you can just hold it together and not completely blunder in one inning, you are winning a lot of these games. You beat A&M in that game. Or maybe that was Auburn. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was Auburn. The first game against Auburn. That they scored 6 in one inning. Yeah, it was Auburn. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong about that. But you win the Auburn series if you don't blow the one game. The one inning in the first game. It was Auburn. Thank you, Balcony Beagles. It seems like it's one inning every time. That on Thursday night, your error-ridden inning was 7. It was the 7th inning. On Friday night, let's see. Well, if I can find it. On Friday night, you did not score any. So, I mean, you can't win games if you don't score. But on Friday night, it was the 3rd inning. We didn't really commit errors, but that was one inning where you let it go. And here on Saturday, you had the lead. You had it together. Lo and behold, the 5th inning comes around. 4 runs cross for Arkansas. And you're still in it. You're still in it. But then you allow the 2-run bomb that put the nail in the coffin. Carl Dunn, Friday wasn't even close to winning. No, it wasn't. I mean, it was dead as a doornail. Dead as a doornail. Offense wasn't rolling. I saw some complaints about Blake Money. I don't know if you can put that too much on Blake Money just because your offense didn't do anything to help him in the first place. When you don't score a single run, you're not going to win a game. You have to score at least 1 run to win a game. You didn't score any. Balcony Beagles, looks like we bought into our own hype too much. Unfortunately, that's the reality, guys. Unfortunately, that is the reality. New coach, and none of this, this is personal opinion. I don't think any of this is on Jay Johnson. I think Jay Johnson is doing the absolute best he can with what he's been given. Like, he's trying to formulate this bullpen system that worked so well against Mississippi State, and really it would have worked well this weekend if your defense helped you out. And in the case of Friday, if your offense would have helped you out a little bit. I think Jay Johnson's doing the best with what he can, honestly. And I think when Jay Johnson gets his guys in here, and I'm not knocking these guys. I mean, these guys, there's a reason there was hype. I mean, there's 3 first-rounders, potentially 4 in your 1, 2, 3, 4 lineup. In your 1 through 4 spots. I mean, there is so much talent. But if you can just clean the defense up, holy cow, you could be really freaking good. You could be so good. And Jay Johnson made this statement after Thursday night's game. We're rolling with what we got, and we just got to hope they improve. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of what he said. We're rolling with what we got. Who got is who we got. I mean, not to call names or anything, but if y'all want to suggest somebody better than Jordan Thompson, I'm all ears. I've suggested people like Drew Bianco. Drew Bianco's a great defender, but then you're going to lack some offense. Unless his offense can get going like it did, in the regional at Oregon in the later season last year, like it was last year, then maybe sure you could plug him in there. I don't know if I trust Collier Cranford that much because the one time we made that move, the first ball that came to him, he couldn't make the play. If you're going to be in there for elite defense, if we're going to sacrifice offense for elite defense, you better darn make sure you're making those plays. You better be making those plays. So by all means, if y'all have a suggestion, like I'm not berating y'all. Like who would y'all suggest? I mean, my first thought is Bianco because I think he's one of the best defensive players you have on the team, and I've said that several times. I think he deserves a chance. I mean, after what we've been seeing, I think he deserves a chance. Really. And I don't ever want to put a game on one guy because I think there's so much more to a game than just one guy. But, boy, Thursday night, you could have won that game. You could have won that game. Throw up Carl Dunn's comment there. How about the delay at the plate ump? Call strike at plate and was out. Oh my goodness, Carl. Was I hot as a tick? Or that's not the saying. I was hot. The saying is full as a tick. I just totally blew that. But I was hot. I was red hot, man. And if I was Jay Johnson, I'd have been tossed. No question. I'd have been gone, son. I would have been gone. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a moment in college baseball where the umpire wanted to make the game all about him as bad as that moment. That was horrible. Are you kidding me? In a one-run ball game? In a crucial situation when there's 2 outs and there's 2 runners on base, you call the guy out because he took a little bit more time than everybody else to get into the batter's box? Are you joking right now? Are you kidding me? You can stop and call time and give him a formal warning. They did not even give him a formal warning. They gave him a warning, but they did not call time and say, hey, get in the box. We just heard the commentator start saying, oh, I think they're telling him to get in the box. But nobody stopped. Nobody called time. Like, give the guy a warning. Maybe he can't hear you. You're standing on third base with a stopwatch watching every move he makes. Are you kidding me? And you ring him up with a runner in scoring position in an SEC West baseball game with a one-run game? Are you kidding me? Awful. That very reason. Those very reasons in games are why I think umpires, referees should have some kind of accountability, some kind of post-game press conference where they have to answer questions. Because those guys get to go home scotch-free. That man will never have to answer a question about that moment that anybody in the public eye knows of. Nobody. How bad would I love to see a reporter post-game ask that umpire what was said in that moment? Why were you so eager and why were you so fast to make that call? You didn't even give him a formal warning. There's got to be some more responsibility, some more accountability. These are big-time games, and you are making good money as an SEC umpire to make stupid decisions like that. There's no doubt in my mind I would have been ejected in that moment. Carl Dunn, I would have been ejected without question. I don't know how Jay, I know it got really close. The umpire, I think, gave him a final warning, and if Jay would have said anything else, I'm pretty sure he'd have been gone. But Jay headed back to the dugout. I would have snapped. Now, I wouldn't have gone Tony Vitello, okay? I know y'all saw that today. What is that man so mad about? Middle of the first inning in a scoreless ball game, so mad that you're getting ejected. Not only is one of your assistant coaches ejected, now you're ejected, and you run yourself into the umpire. Suspension is pending for Tony Vitello. That was completely uncalled for. You can snap on somebody and try to rally your team up, try to pump your team up, but that was uncalled for. I'm just got to say it. That was uncalled for. Especially in a scoreless ball game after the top of the first inning. Supposedly over one call. One strike call. After the first inning. A little over the top. For me, that was a little bit over the top. Especially since you had already had another coach get ejected. But if I was Jay Johnson today, I'd have been hot. I would have been hot. I was hot. But I'm not Jay Johnson. And I digress. But Zach was 100% right, y'all. We got really excited about the Mississippi State sweep. And Zach said, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but we did this after the Florida series, and we saw what happened at Auburn. Will the consistency be there with this kind of production? And it wasn't. I would have been okay if you went and lost 2. And you got 1. Arkansas is leading the West. You were only a game behind them coming into this series. It's an away series. If you get 1 win, so be it. But swept, especially after Thursday night when you beat your own self, brutal. Absolutely brutal. But I will not continue to harp. on the baseball team. We will move forward from the diamond here. Throw that comment up there. Stick around, y'all. Last segment is a Tell Me TA segment. We want your questions, your comments. We want to interact. We love to do it. So for the last segment, stick around so we can do some Tell Me TA. Well, let's get Zach in here. Oh, sorry. I'll just hit my mic. Zach Attack.
Hey.
Spring football.
Let's talk it.
Or give me your brief summary on. Give me one word to sum up LSU's loss series sweep in Fayetteville, and then we'll talk spring football. One word only.
Disappointment.
I knew it. Disappointment indeed.
Man, dude, Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday, because you had Friday and because you had Saturday, it makes Thursday that much worse.
Yes, it was. It was horrible. Absolutely brutal. But let's talk some spring football.
Let's do that. We're on a little bit more positive note now.
There, as you know, they were in Tiger Stadium. We got some really great clips, that have been circling around. Love what you've been seeing out of Brian Kelly. You gotta love Brian Kelly, man. I mean, how do you not like it, man?
There's always
look,
haters.
y'all, I don't understand why my father does not like the Brian Kelly hire. He is so blinded. Dad, if you're listening, you're blinded by the fact. You are blinded by the fact that he hasn't won a national championship at a school that hasn't won a national championship in 34 years and 5 coaches. Look at the recruiting he did at the crappy place that is South Bend, Indiana, and the places he took Notre Dame with such a restrictive academic level of requirement. The armpit that is South Bend, and he still made it to BCS national championships. He still made it to the college playoffs with all of the crappiness that he had to go through to recruit players, to beg players to get there. And you have LSU, whose last 3 coaches have won a national championship in this century. Notre Dame ain't won a championship in this century. But there's been 3 different coaches at LSU in this century to win a national championship. Brian Kelly came here to win a national championship, and so that he does not have to fly across the country to recruit everybody. He can stay in Louisiana, recruit his tail off in Louisiana, and also go out of state. Michael Doherty, safety out of Georgia.
Ryan Yates
out of Texas, and bring them here where the last 3 coaches, have I said that enough, have won a national championship. And 2 of them had a squirrel brain. Brian Kelly is going to win a national championship at LSU. Father!
Over or under 5 years.
I love you, Dad, but jeez, under.
Yeah.
Some of y'all may not like this. My prediction for LSU will probably end up being this year around 8-4, 9-3. But I would not be surprised if LSU was pushing 10-2, 11-1, and pushing us for a spot in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised.
Boy.
I will say realistically, 9-3, 8-4. I wouldn't be surprised though.
I mean, Reagan, if your only loss is to Bama, you're in the playoffs. You're a 1-loss SEC's team, and your 1 loss is probably to the SEC champion. You're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you might be the number 2 or 3 seed.
I'm just saying. Carl Dunn. Did the last 3 coaches win national championships? You better believe it, Carl. You better believe it. All right. We're talking Brian Kelly because Brian Kelly's got me excited. Well, we need to talk some spring football, which includes Brian Kelly. Zach, give me your thoughts on what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've watched spring football in recent days.
Well, first off, to get to the recruiting update, as Reagan already said, you get the 4-star safety out of Georgia. You get the 4-star safety out of Texas.
He can't recruit.
Michael Daltry.
Can't recruit.
No, he can't. Michael Daltry and Ryan Yates both commit to LSU. Both guys that are out of state. Not only is Brian Kelly locking down the state itself in Louisiana, he's also going out into Georgia and Texas and picking off 4 stars away from the Aggies, the Georgia Bulldogs, Texas Longhorns, all those guys. So really impressive job already by Brian Kelly in state and out of state. As we mentioned, you were going to see 2 guys that were going to commit this week, and we did. We saw the Ryan Yates commit. We saw the Michael Daltry commit. We mentioned the potential of another transfer that was going to commit. Unfortunately, as I've been saying, Tyler Steen, we were getting word that he was a heavy Bama lean there at the end. And unfortunately, that's where he decided to go. Now, for me, that's kind of confusing because he's going to go in there and probably sit the bench. And if you come to LSU, you're probably a first game starter. Like you're probably in there versus Florida State as a starter. But
The pitch
I
out
digress.
was pretty easy though.
yeah, you just like here,
Pretty-
look at my rings.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so for spring practice, Reagan, something that's really cool that I've been seeing lately. So I don't know if you saw this, but Brian Kelly, I've been really impressed with the wide receivers. Like Malik Neighbors has been having a really good spring. Jack Besh has been having a really good spring. Trey Jenkins has been having a really good spring. Kyron Lacey has kind of come on a lot more as of late. Brian Thomas, like the list just goes like all those guys that we know we have and that can be absolute ballers. Chris Hilton. I mean, you could go, it's so easy to miss somebody, and when you miss them, it's not because like they're bad or they're behind in the wide receiver room. It's just because there's so many guys. Like there's so many guys that are excelling at that position. And so something that I thought was really, really cool. So I found this out the other day. So they are making wide receivers. They are keeping them from making competitive catches until late in the practice when they are fatigued and they're tired. And so they're trying to, build their mental toughness so that, guys are having to make these catches at the end of practice when they're worn down and they're going one-on-one on these DBs and they are expected, to make the plays. And the quarterbacks are looking good. Like Garrett Nussmeier, I saw a few of him scrambling around and making a play. Miles Brennan had a really, really good, great pass to Jere Jenkins. Jaden Daniels had a great pass, a little crossing route to Kyron Lacey, and he housed it. Armani Goodwin housed a long touchdown run.
65 yards, 70 yards.
60. Like I don't know, Reagan. It feels different. It really feels different. Like when you're watching these practices, it just feels
different.
So it feels so much different, and you're watching this, and I'm like getting pumped. And like, man, this feels like this could be a championship quality team. Like, and I know that I don't want to say that because I know that brings a lot of hype and a lot of expectation into the season. And I'm with you, Reagan. Like, I'm thinking 8-4, and I'm a little bit more negative when it comes to thinking this way, as you know, Reagan. When it comes to LSU, I tend to lean a little bit more on the negative side than you do. So which is weird to me because I'm a really positive person. Like I am like always on the more positive side, but when it comes to LSU sports, like between us two, I'm always kind of more on the negative side. Like I'm more kind of 8-4 because I think there's a lot of games in there that are really, really tough, coin toss games, but the schedule is favorable. I actually had a guy, he messaged me last night and he's like, so is LSU going to like suck again this year? And I was like, he was like, and I was like, no, absolutely not. And he said, is it because the schedule is favorable or is it because they're just better? And I said, yes, because they are better. Maybe at a talent wise, maybe not as much because you lost guys, like Jay Ward, Andre Anthony, Damone Clark, I'm going blank on, Neil Farrell. Like you lost
Derek Stingley,
Derek Stingley. Elias Ricks, like you lost a lot of studs there. So like talent wise, maybe you're not as a good team, but the coaching has caught that up to speed. And
no doubt.
And yes, the schedule is now favorable. So all that to say, what I'm seeing from spring practices, it's been very, very encouraging to me because it feels like you're back to where LSU football should be. Now, we may go 8-4. We may go, at worst, I hate to say it, but, say they end up going 7-5 and they lose to like Bama, A&M, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, something like that. Like it still just feels different. You feel where like last year you went into the season and you're like, okay, we had the COVID year, we had 2020, like, all right, we're going to get things back to normal. Yeah. You're coming into the UCLA game and you're like, we're going to win this game. We should dominate this game talent-wise. And then it happens and you're like, oh my gosh, this team is right where it was last year. It's the same locker room atmosphere. It's the same product on the field as last year, right? And it just feels completely different. And I hope we're correct on that. And, dude, I'm really excited. Now, there is a kind of downer to this past week. You did find out that John Emery has had a minor injury. That is what Brian Kelly said. He was in a boot in practice, I think, today and yesterday. But Brian Kelly said he could be back as soon as next week.
Yeah.
So it's very minor, but they're obviously going to be very cautious with him. You do not want to risk anything with him, because he's already missed 2020 with the injury. He already missed 2021 with the ineligibility academic-wise. So you do not want to risk your star tailback who is in his money year, to further injure himself. So you rest him as long as possible. Shoot, if you come back and you reevaluate and you got to wait until the fall, do it. So really impressive from the wide receiver room. Some sad news about John Emery. And then also Will Campbell is just continuing to impress people. Like the dude is balling out right now in spring. The offensive line seems to be kind of coming together. We're starting to kind of see a little bit of the pieces there, and what looks like is starting to become the starting five. Nothing's for certain, nothing's for sure, but really impressive early. And dude, I can't tell you, I am so pumped. 1 week away. We are 1 week away from the spring game. And
yes, sir.
Shoot, I may be going all by myself. I might be driving down there by myself. I may be renting a hotel by myself, but I'm going to that spring game. And I am super excited about it. I cannot wait.
Awesome.
I do hate that it's possible we might not get to see John Emery in the spring game, but that's fine. I'll be totally good with seeing Noah Cain, or not Noah Cain, excuse me, Corey Kiner, and seeing Armani Goodwin and Trey Bradford and those guys just absolutely ball out. So I'm excited about it. Brandon Reese said BK is already, in my opinion, a top 10 coach, especially since he's the active winningest coach. Imagine if he was to finally win a title to add to that resume. You can make the argument top 5 then. I don't disagree there, Brandon. I think that's a good take, and I have to agree. I think he might be top 5 now, Reagan. I mean, you got Saban, you got Dabo, you got Kirby Smart.
Are we talking current or all time?
I'm sure he's talking current. Current. Saban obviously number 1. Dabo's probably number 2. Kirby's up there now. Maybe Jimbo. Maybe. He has a national championship. And he's an active coach right now.
Coach Orgeron also has a national championship.
But he's not active right now. He's not an active coach. So he might be top 5, Brandon, honestly. He might be. So, anyways, Reagan, I've just been really excited to see everything that we've seen.
No, absolutely. I got to agree. I'm sorry. Were you okay? Sorry. I thought you were finishing what you're saying. But no, some other things you saw is some more of this. Okay, so not only is he changing, the whole scope of LSU, it seems like, from a talent standpoint, we know what we got. He's bringing in his offense, and he's going to usher that in, and he's changing all that. But he is changing also the culture of the locker room. The locker room is going to change. It has been toxic. It has been I don't even know. It's just been so horrible the last 2 years through the
lackadaisical,
lazy, academic slipping. Everybody's hurt. It's like an episode of MASH every spring. It's like everybody's hurt. Yeah. Like everybody's hurt. Today I saw the video where I can't remember who it was, but it doesn't matter who the player was. I believe it was Malik Neighbors, but he kind of showboated on a play. Yeah. He kind of showboated on a play, and Brian Kelly wasn't having it. Yep. He wasn't having it. In fact, he stopped practice and pulled the team together and was talking about how this is a brotherhood. We lift our opponent. We lift our teammates up. We'll see what it looks like when it comes, on the other field. When it's an opponent, it's not your teammate. He may let them go, but it's your own teammate. Hey, this is a brotherhood. We're in this together. We want to win a national championship together, right? Like it's been this, I'm one-upping culture under under Ed Orgeron and no continuity, no relationship, it feels like, amongst the team, no accountability, no trust, no brotherhood. And Brian Kelly has been stressing it a lot. He's changing the culture that has been so bad, that has been so polluted the last 2 years under Ed Orgeron.
Yeah.
And you got to love it. I mean, when you have the talent that you have, the pieces that you have, and you can usher in a new style of offense with coaches that are experienced, coaches they can relate to, coaches that have called plays in game, have experience, are from a winning background. We're talking Super Bowl championships, national championships, contending for national championships in the playoffs. So you have a coaching staff that can relate. They have a winning mentality. They have a player-focused mentality, and they have experience. And then you bring all that together with a brotherhood culture, a culture that teaches brotherhood, like togetherness and accountability, with the talent that you already have. It's a recipe for tons of wins. It is a recipe for tons of wins. And you've got to love what Brian Kelly is doing. I don't care about this, this, he's not a culture fit, he's whatever. So what? Ed Orgeron was the culture fit, but he made LSU completely toxic and completely polluted. We can bring this guy from Boston in here, and he may not sound like anybody within a freaking 500-mile radius of the stadium, Death Valley, and bring a culture that brings togetherness and brotherhood, and you add that to the talent that we already have with the coaching staff that he's put together. Come on, man. Who cares if he's not from Louisiana? If he's here to win games, if he's here to win championships, who cares? I want to see LSU win. I don't care if he gets up there and talks Cajun and talks about the shrimp boats down in the bayou. Okay?
And the holes. I
want to hear him teaching accountability. I want to hear him teaching, responsibility. You love it. Throw up that Brandon reel. What is that?
And to that point, Reagan, like, think about how much the last 2-3 years you've had like personal fouls called in critical situations that really hurt you.
Yes.
Like, I don't think we're going to see a lot of that anymore.
And Brandon Reese is right here.
Yep.
Check that on Orgeron and the program. For real. There's no doubt in my mind that happened.
Oh, yeah.
I really believe that.
I have to believe as well. All right, guys. Well, I think we've talked enough spring football and recruiting update. Yep. Obviously, we can get back into that here in the last segment. So, y'all be sure to stick around. Right around the corner, we're doing Tell Me TA. If you're on Twitter, switch over to YouTube so y'all can tell us your Tell Me TA questions and comments. We love to interact with y'all. It's an open forum tonight. Ask us any questions. We want to interact with y'all. We want to hear from y'all. And we're here to answer any questions you have. And, of course, we'll preview Monday's show. So looking forward to it right after this. Let's go ahead and hit a quick break with our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at OneNationDoty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. 5-Star Hero. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right.
Get them in there.
Do it.
Get them in there.
All right, y'all start sending in your Tell Me TA questions. If you're in here right now, go ahead and shoot one in. Tell Me TA, and we will get to them
while we're waiting for some to come in, and y'all fire them in there. We want to interact. We love to interact. Zach, so to discuss briefly, we've been hearing lately we've been hearing little whispers, little birdies. There may be some players coming back to this LSU basketball program. There may be some more than the two already. I've just got to say, I kind of called it. I said one or two.
He did.
I called it. Okay.
We got Milwaukee back.
Who's
the other one? I'm going blank.
Justice Williams and M1.
Justice Williams. I knew that. I just went.
And you got it, Zach. We need an edit, Zach. We need an edit. Somebody threw out. We got Justice Hill now, and now we have Justice Williams. That's kind of our backcourt right now. We need a Justice League edit, bro. I need the Justice League edit.
Yeah,
I need it.
Well, did you not see it from Jordy Collada and them? They made one.
But I mean, TA edits. Come on, bro. It's a little bit better. I don't know if we're doing edits. I ain't worried about Collada. I ain't worried about what he's doing.
We worried about TA.
TA, bro.
That's right.
I want to see TA's edit.
Well, we need to go ahead and get some comments fired here. They're slacking a little bit.
I know it, man.
Y'all slacking. We got 5 guys watching right now. Five viewers. Y'all send us. Y'all tell me.
Brandon, Carl, balcony. Come to the balcony. Come to the balcony. I need to see it.
I do want to ask if the Balcony Bengals are still in here. Are y'all going to the spring game? If y'all are going to the spring game, is there going to be any after party? Is there going to be any tailgating going on beforehand? Like, what's going to be happening? Y'all need to let me know because I want to know. I want to be there.
I think we got our first one here, Zach. I think we got our first one here. Brandon Reese, tell me T8.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon.
Tell me, TA, which football coach in the SEC this upcoming season is under the most pressure? I say Fisher, 5th year, plus making like $9 million a year, and bought all that talent.
Just brought in all that talent.
Oh, I see what he's saying. He's talking in. Okay, I get it now. Brought. I get it now. I got you, Brandon. I got you. He bought it.
Brandon.
He bought it. Come on now. He bought it. No, I mean, Fisher is under a lot of pressure. It is crazy that through these years he's been there, he got the same darn record that Sumlin's got. He's done the same darn thing Sumlin has. I don't care. Look, I don't care who the coach is, and I don't care who he bringing on all this talent. It's the best recruiting class that college football has ever seen. I don't care. If you don't start winning some games, I don't care. Well, I do not care. You're getting paid big-time money. You are bringing in these recruits. They expect it. Like, Kyle Field is pretty crazy. They've given you everything down there. You've got it down there. I mean, he wasn't wrong when he was saying it would be dumb to leave what I got because he's got a lot. And he can have more if he wants it. You got to win games, bro. You got to be better than 8-4. You got to do better, or you got to do better than 8-4, 9-3. Okay, like we need to see some national titles. I get their quarterback was hurt, whatever, but your record is the same as Sumlin's, dude. It's the same.
That's bad.
I don't care.
That's bad. Brandon, Zach, for me, I think it's Harsin because of everything that happened during the winter. Like, the boosters want that man gone. And I don't know what happened.
They never wanted him.
Yeah, like, and that dude's like a dead man walking. I don't even know how you can go back after all that happened. Like, you had stuff leaked about you and your secretary that may or may not even be true. Like, maybe it's true and they did that to throw some dirt on you so you'd get out of there. Or maybe it was just complete hogwash and they made all that up to steal and try and force you out. Like, either way, that's bad. Like, why are you still there? Why are you still there? And you had Bo Nix leave. I mean, you had guys left and right start entering the transfer portal.
Tank Bigsby
You had
almost left.
Tank Bigsby almost like you had all that turnover. And I just don't know how you could continue to stay there after all that happened. So for me, it's
It was
definitely
hot
got to
for a
be
while.
Brian Harsin. Yeah,
It
it's
was a
definitely got
hot
to be Brian
seat. It was a hot seat. Look, okay. So speaking of coaches and whatnot, all right, and you saying our schedule is kind of favorable. So I'm looking at the schedule, right? We open up with Florida State. Florida State's looking to have potentially their best year under Norvell.
Mike Norvell. Yeah.
Mike Norvell, yeah. They're looking to have their best year. Their years have not been good, but it looks like this could be the best year under Norvell. But you get to play them in New Orleans. So it's almost like a home game for you. You're going to have a lot of LSU fans in there.
And especially with the anticipation and the excitement that is coming into the season.
New coach. I like LSU there, honestly. And then you play Southern, which is a big game, Baton Rouge rival. You play State, which Will Rogers is coming into another year. Will Rogers was great last year. He's a great quarterback. We beat them last year in their own stadium with Will Rogers. Now you got to come to Baton Rouge with probably a far better coaching staff with about the same amount of talent, and you got to play in Baton Rouge. I like LSU. You got New Mexico. It's kind of a win there. You got to go to Auburn. But I know we lost to Auburn this year, but with all the mess that Brian Harsin has gone through, I don't know if this is going to be a great year. Honestly, I think it's going to be a crappy year for Auburn. That's just my opinion. Tennessee's a tough one. But you get to play in Baton Rouge. That favors us. Hendon Hooker is going to be good. He's going to be tough. But you get to play that game in Death Valley. You go play Florida, who under Billy Napier, I don't think is going to have this incredible first year. I mean, they have really struggled recruiting-wise since he's come in. And I don't know if they've supplemented their roster enough to compete at a high level this year. You know, you got to give a guy several years to establish it. And I'm not saying Billy Napier can't, but I think based on what we've seen in his first, few months there, I don't think it's enough to have an elite, level of play. So I think you win there. And then you get to play Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin with Jackson Dart and, the transfer trig that came with Jackson Dart, Lane Kiffin's offense, it's going to be tough. But again, you get to play in Baton Rouge. Some of your toughest games here at the beginning of the stretch are at Baton Rouge. And then you get to play Bama at Bama. So, I do not want to get my hopes way up. But could you imagine going to play Alabama? You're undefeated, and it's in Death Valley.
Yeah. Tell
me, Tia. Yeah, oh my.
This is a good story, by the way. I love this.
Yes. Excellent story. Tell me, TA, what do you think of Nick Storrs' practice today? I honestly haven't seen much from Nick Storrs, but I love that he's back. I mean, you got to love it.
In an extreme position of need.
Yes.
And a great, kind of Cinderella story for him. Of course, obviously we know Nick Storrs comes from the baseball team. He was a pitcher. He's dealt with a lot of injury, not just in baseball and football. And to get healthy again and to be able to come back to this team. He's wearing number 48 now. And to be at a position of need where LSU is extremely lacking depth. Like, not only do you need talent, you need bodies.
Yep.
You need bodies at tight end. And to get a guy like Nick Storrs, who's an older guy who can focus on his craft here at tight end position for this football team, it's extremely exciting.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And what a comeback. I mean, everybody thought he was done with sports, period, from this, medical issue that he was dealing with. And I mean, here he is at spring practice. I mean, what an incredible story. An incredible story. And, maybe Brian Kelly had something to do with that, understanding he needed a tight end. He needed some more tight end. And maybe Nick Storrs had kind of been written off by the last coaching staff with the medical whatever had happened. And maybe Brian Kelly found out he had overcome some things and gotten healthy and gave him a call. You never know. I really, that's just complete speculation from my part, honestly. But, I mean, you got to love it. You got to love stories like that. I don't know if he'll ever make a major impact, but that kind of story can bring camaraderie with your program. Look, we've only got 2 Tell Me TAs in here. We are severely lacking. What are we doing? We got a minute and a half, or maybe 2.5 minutes, a minute and a half left here before we start wrapping things up. We need some more Tell Me TA. Zach, Tell Me TA, Zach. If any current player who is in the transfer portal with the basketball team could possibly come back, who would you most want? Who hasn't decided? Who would you most want, most desire to come back?
I mean, Adam Miller.
Yes.
Isn't that obvious? But here's the thing. You've gotten quite a few guards already, from the transfer portal, guys that are committing. So for me, it might be Efton Reed. As much as I want to say, I mean, if you can get Adam Miller back, you get Adam Miller back. Period.
Yes.
You get him back. But at a more position of need, I think you need Efton Reed back. You need a big guy. We got Cornelius coming in. We got some other big dudes coming in. But, Efton, he's familiar, obviously, with the program. I know this is a complete overhaul, right? Hashtag McMahon makeover. But either way, to get a guy that was already on your roster and a guy that put in a lot of valuable minutes. I know we had a lot of hard takes on Efton. He had a really rough season. Couldn't seem like he could never get going. Maybe
I don't know if Wade
that's
did
this year
for him either.
Yeah, Wade took away some opportunities to really start feeding him the ball, and I feel like we never got to see his full potential just within the last season. So
right.
I don't know. Carl Dunn said O'Neal needs to come back too. I don't know, after the comments and everything that was said with Shaq on his podcast. Like, I don't know.
You never know.
I don't even know if
I don't know, but I mean, you don't know if you want him back, but you kind of need him back. If he comes back, it would be nice because like you just said, you need big guys. Yeah. Right now, I mean, you don't have many big guys. Like, the only big guy necessarily you have right now is Cornelius Williams. Like,
and then Kendall
think
Coleman,
about that.
I guess you could consider him a big guy.
Who?
Kendall Coleman.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. You're right on that. But you got 2 big guys. Neither of them have played Power 5 conference, and one of them hadn't even played college basketball yet.
You know who? Now, you may already know about this, but you know who I would love to get from the freaking transfer portal? Obviously, KJ Williams. We've already mentioned KJ Williams. Lofton from Louisiana Tech.
Yes.
Is he committed anywhere?
No. Well, so he is getting a lot. If McMahon gets him, it's a big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Because supposedly he has been getting a ton of recognition. But I would love to get Lofton. Yes. Lofton would be awesome to get. And I'm actually meant to mention that in our last show and completely forgot. But Kenneth Lofton would be huge. And I would love to have Kenneth
Lofton. He dominated in the
He is
game.
Physical. He is physical as it gets. Tell me, TA, what are your realistic expectations for Matt McMahon next year?
Oof.
I don't know, man. I really
Above
don't.
500 would be great. Above 500
Yeah.
in the SEC. Like, you're going to win your non-conference. You're going to win your not all of them. You'll probably slip up, one or two here and there. But, you'll win the games you're supposed to win. The games that are, tough ones or close, you're probably going to lose some of those. That's the reality of what is about to come.
No.
But who's to say you can't go out there and compete and still, like, I'm not expecting it at all, but they can't take a regular season championship away from you. They can't, because they can have a postseason appearance ban, tournament ban. But you could still go out there and compete and win the regular season championship and be like, now we're done. Like, we won the regular season championship. We ain't got to worry about a postseason. Obviously, that'd be kind of, depressing that you won the regular season championship and then you weren't able to go. But, we're not.
I don't know if the expectation is SEC championship.
No, that's not the expectation. But I'm saying,
but if you
could still go out and do that, and that'd be really, really cool. It's not going to happen, but that's still an obtainable goal.
Say never. Never say never.
Never say never. But listen, I think we got to expect already. He's already exceeded my expectations on what he's done on the recruiting front and the guys he's brought in via the transfer portal. So for me, I would just like to see them go above 500 in conference play.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think that's a realistic expectation. I think that's realistic. And that was kind of your question there. What's realistic? And I think that's the most realistic thing you could expect. He may surprise us, though. I think he's a great coach. And if he's getting some more talent in than he expected to, or what he's used to at Murray State, you never know what he could do. This is why we mentioned him. This is why me and Zach started saying his name immediately. We've seen what he's done at Murray State at that kind of level. What could you do with the talent LSU could bring? It's the same thing with Brian Kelly. It's the same thing. He's doing that at Notre Dame with those academic restrictions, with that kind of place. He's making it to the playoffs. He's getting in BCS championships. And you unlock resources for him? You give him more to do with?
Yep.
That's the situation Matt McMahon's in. So you never know. But it is what it is. He said, let's be honest, if we're put on a 1-year tournament ban next year, it probably won't matter. We probably won't be good next year anyway. There's a possibility. It could just be like, all right, we got to give him a while. This is why you gave him a 6-7-year contract, right? That is why.
You're going to get to see him compete and go to the tournament. After you get past the postseason bans.
You got to give him time. Not only do you got to give him time to get through the postseason bans, then you have to give him time to recruit guys who want to come because now they can compete in the postseason.
Correct.
Because you're going to miss out on some guys because you can't participate in the postseason.
Yep. You got to give him time before the ban, and you got to give him time after the ban, which is going to be really tough for fans.
Yeah. So buckle up. It may be a little bit.
It may be a rough ride.
Have faith.
I got to tell you guys about tonight. So we do this twice a week. Y'all be sure to tune in tonight on Twitter Space. If you are a late night owl like me, if your eyes do not start fluttering until around 2 a.m. or after that, be sure to get on Twitter Space and tune in at 12 a.m. Easter morning for the Avenue crew. We will be talking all things LSU. We will talk about, of course, the spring. We will talk about anything you want to talk about because it is an open forum for y'all. All right, Reagan, we got, I think, one more Tell Me TA question, and then
we will wrap it up.
Dave,
Tell me TA about the 2 out-of-state DB commitments this week. Zach, tell them about them.
So Michael Daltry, he's out of Georgia. Dude, he's got a lot of confidence. Michael Daltry has a lot of confidence. I've seen more. I got to be honest. I've seen more on Michael Daltry than I have with Ryan Yates. Michael Daltry can fly around the ball. He is very athletic. He's got a very confident personality. And, I mean, you need that, right, with a DB commit. I mean, if you're going to come to LSU and be a part of DBU, like, you got to have that type of personality.
Absolutely.
You got to kind of have that edge about you, like, I'm going to be me. And what you going to do about it. So, really excited. Obviously, it's really early, I mean, we still got to wait till next year, and they're going to come in and, have to compete there, and maybe a year or two until we see their full potential. But, another thing is we are going to start to see Brian Kelly's going to go after his guys. Like, he's not going to go after, a 5-star, a 4-star just because they have that star rating. Like, he is going to do talent evaluation a lot better than the last staff did under Ed Orgeron. And that's what I'm excited about. So the potential for these guys is exciting. And when you get them at a 4-star and Brian Kelly, wanted those guys, talent, evaluated those guys, it's even more encouraging.
Absolutely.
So those are two guys that are going to come in. They're going to have to compete at that safety position. And I'm excited, to see it down the road. It's exciting. Everything about the football program right now is exciting. The recruiting's exciting, and Dave, you're probably going to get another big-time recruit coming in here soon in May.
Something I forgot to mention, speaking of recruiting, is Brian Kelly said, quote, that he assured us that the roster spots would be filled.
Yeah.
The open spots for this class will be filled. Assured us. Ding, 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 ding. Assured us. What does that mean?
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 ding. Like, he assured you. So expect more. Expect more. All right, guys.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying green.
Yes. Carl don't really wish he will recruit and talk to media. LOL. Hopefully, I guess he's. I don't know who's he talking about there.
He's being funny. He's talking about Brian Kelly.
Yeah, gotcha. He'll never do a press conference. Get out of your office. Oh boy.
We'll not talk about that.
Yeah.
All
right, guys.
Good one.
We appreciate y'all joining in. We're going to hit a quick break, and then we will come back and wrap it up. We'll see you right after this. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All right. We appreciate all your comments for the Tell Me TA segment. All of you that did participate, we really appreciate it. We love to do this show. We love to interact with y'all. It's always a blast. And next show will be on Monday. Monday for the next show. Guys, tomorrow's Easter Sunday. Christ indeed is risen, and he indeed is the Savior. Thank you for participating tonight. Happy Easter to all of you and all of your families. We'll catch you next time in the Tigers Avenue. 5-star hero, take us out. Peace. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? And the LSU Tigers, LSU Tigers.